Is this thing working? Looks like this thing is working. Long time no see at Keritech Electronics. I'm picking the stream in the YouTube panel with a delay. Is the microphone working? Yes, I guess it is. Hi, Satterwolf. Hi, Mars. Hi, everybody. Long time no see. I guess we've been missing each other, and I got the idea of getting back to streaming because my queer friends are away from home and say it's very dark. Let me see if I can do anything about it. Auto exposure manual mode. Aperture priority mode. It should be a lot brighter now. Yeah, it should be a lot brighter, though it might be a little burned out. Chocolate muffin. Sweet. Hi, Grant. Oh yeah. Hello everyone. How's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely day. No, I'm not going to do politics. And is the stream is the stream buffering or is it going smoothly? Because I can see in the stream panel on the YouTube side that it's a little bit rough. Like it tends to be buffering, but it's not as bad as the VCF stream, because that one was fucking abysmal. It was it was seconds per frame, not frames per second. And I was absolutely riled. I tried to watch. I tried to watch that stream because you know about people who were there. I really wanted to see it live. Professionals can't fucking do a live stream from a place that has 10 gigabit per second internet link. How come? 720p? I wonder if it is capable of 1080. Because theoretically I've got it set to 1080 and let me check. Something like 6 megabit per second, though it's going at something like 4 megabit per second. And it's not dropping frames, so this is going well. Yeah, kitty. Mwah! Coco the lab assistant. Yeah, I have a cat. I have a cat. This is Coco. He, him pronouns. And he's such a sweetheart. He is purring like a fucking motorcycle. You really have to hear him purr. Coco, would you please purr to the microphone? Hey, look, watcher. It is Cat, the real deal cat. A fat cat and a hip cat. I got a lovely kitty. So, there's this one thing right next to my bench. One moment, please. Let me change the camera to show you. If I can... If I can... What was that? Yeah, I've got a mic on this. Let's get back to the previous one because I'm gonna show you something. See that Canon DSLR? I hooked it up as a camera in the live preview mode. It's not really that good image quality. The autofocus doesn't work in this mode, so I have to do manual focus, but I can move around with it. Got it on a tripod. I can as well take it off the tripod and show you a few things about my lab. And I will catch up with the chat a little bit later. Let me move the microphone up just a teeny tiny bit. So, looking at the table in the middle, got a lot of things on it, like some of my things, some of the demonstration posters, even some clothes from my queer friend. Then the cover for the IBM Selectric. Then behind the table I've got a bookcase with the parts storage above it. Those boxes. Check out the column in the middle. It's mainly vacuum tube and vacuum tubes and accessories. Then the speaker systems ZG40C from Unitra Tonsil, the Tascam 244 Porta Studio on the Semtron 220 electronic calculator. The calculator is still discombobulated. Gotta find some time and you know, gotta move on with repairing that thing. This is some old Eastern German electronic that I need to do a teardown of. This is a enclosure for the power supply. My secondary hi-fi system, like, this is a tape deck. This is the amplifier that powers the speaker systems above my desk. This I use this system all the time when I sit at the desk. Either watch something on YouTube or listen to music. And this amplifier, I need to finish it. This is a headphone amplifier. B13 S10, if I remember correctly, oscilloscope CRT. I got it very cheap for something like €1. And this is the DJ mixer that I use as a preamp for my secondary hi-fi system, and this is the Phonica CD player. And looks like the camera feed has died and restarted. This is a collection of headphones. I mostly use the Bluetooth headphones. Carrie's hacked. I modified them myself because normally those were the wired headphones, and I installed a Bluetooth module. That's the turntable. A knockoff of a SL1200 made by Omnitronic. This is the stream engine, the main computer here, the one that handles all the recording, editing and streaming, and also gaming. And now time for something interesting, the hi-fi system, the main hi-fi system. Let me tripod the camera. At the top we've got the WS1 power amplifier that I built 10 years ago. Does it look familiar? Yes, that's where one of my intros comes from. Below the WS1 we've got the phono preamp, also vacuum tube, then the fully balanced line mixer, unfortunately built with semiconductors. Also an old project of mine that underwent several modifications. And under the mixer we've got a CD player, then the cassette deck, the tuner. That's the tuner, but I don't really listen to the radio, so I don't turn it on, but But yeah, I can show you. Yeah, looks like the scale lighting got discombobulated. And underneath the tuner, there's the AC1 audio computer that made it out pretty big on Hackaday. So, one moment please, let me catch up with the chat. Yeah, Chipmunk, the other countries' rotary phones. Speaking of which, I need to grab my family heirloom. Yeah, I guess this is gonna be a better view. One moment, please. Let me get up there. You might be wondering what this is, but this is actually our first phone. I still have it. Back when I was a kid, this was our phone. It was pretty modern back in the day, and even though it was rotary dial, so only pulse dialing, it had a fair amount of electronics inside. So the ringing was also electronic. I wonder if I could make something to simulate the ringing on the phone, because it's something like 25 hertz, 50 volts or something AC. Back to the chat. See you, Al. Yeah, Zapped Sparky. It is disorganized. My lab is just a total discombobulation. But at least I know where things are. If I don't, then things go boom. Yeah, starting a radio station I was thinking about it a few days, a few times. Hi, Katie. Nice seeing you. Can the turntable do 78s? Yes, actually it can, but it will need a different cartridge or stylus. But it can actually spin at 78. And that's also what I mentioned in a comment on that TechMount video, that I have a knockoff of a SL1200 by Omnitronic. It's in fact I think it's the same original equipment manufacturer as that Audio Technica TechMon was mentioning, and it can do 33, it can do 45, and it can do 78, but without a different cartridge or stylus, it would be no use. And as for the library, there one section is the science and technology section. I don't have too much room to keep all of those books, so I have to keep them in 2 rows on the shelf. And yeah, this is a 19-inch rack. It's a small one. Back in my old lab, before I moved to Gdańsk, I had a 42U in 19-inch rack that was something like 1 meter deep. And that's one behemoth of a rack. I had to leave it behind, and I gave it to a hackerspace in my old city, and they appreciated it a lot. Let's see what else was going on here. Yeah, Chimpunk. You're not the only person who says discombobulated. I got it from Fran. I absolutely loved it, so I use the word pretty often. Discombobulated, recombobulated. I just hope Fran is not gonna mind. I got some catchphrases from Fran. I got some catchphrases from Big Clive, and I got some catchphrases from Dave Jones. And of course, some from Electro Boom. And by the way, tonight the hybrid 4-bit rectifier video hits the public. Oh, is it tonight? Let me check one moment, please. One moment, please. Yes, that would be it. The newly published hybrid 4-bridge rectifier video. Power supply schematic. What's that cat doing? Take a look at a few circuit diagrams and the datasheet. Maybe power supply schematic from 93. Basically, I'm going over the circuit diagram of the Mesa Boogie, or Messy Booger, like I call it, dual rectifier design of the guitar amp. Got this schematic right here on paper, and I show my design that I'm gonna implement in the Dirty Dozen. Who knows? It may be something new in the guitar amp world. If that happens. Yeah, if the drunk idiots are anything like me, the cat would get about 30 minutes of scratches. Got some subscribers from Big Clive. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. Modern phone guts inside and make it into a mobile phone. Oh, the rotary dial mobile phone. It was actually done. There was a woman engineer who was also an entrepreneur. Pretty much close to Jerry Ellsworth, but not doing the experimental integrated circuit stuff. But if I can find it, let me check if I can find it. Where was it? Justine Haupt. Then that's her name. Yeah, let me show you that that video on YouTube because I got it opened.
The rotary on smartphone. Yes, a fully functional rotary dial cell phone that operates on the modern LTE cellular networks. What's all this? Almost 2 years ago, in 2020, I made a rotary cell phone using old phone parts, an Arduino, and stuff from Adafruit and my 3D printer, and then it went viral, and people said, I want one. And I said,
yeah, she did it. And Seems like
So I
there's
wanted
more
to keep
of that.
it really minimal so that it seems
Look
at
at
least
that.
somewhat more plausible in an alternate history, but who cares? It's my alternate history. It can be whatever I want. All right.
Yeah, I like the design.
So if we dial a number,
It's the first time I'm seeing the Element 14 video. Though it has been around
it
for
will
some
play
time.
the DTMF tone right there via
And
the speaker.
there's more of them. There's more of them.
Oh, I've got this rotary wall phone.
Modding the rotary phone to ring on VoIP line like
This was actually in the house when we moved here.
combining it with some microcontroller and the SIP protocol. That would be pretty interesting, and it was. I once had an idea to suggest to the Connections Museum in Atlanta. You know, if you know the channel with Sarah and Astrid and a few other cool people operating a real deal old Bell system phone exchange, fully operational, and those girls know their stuff. I'm absolutely impressed by their knowledge. Let me drop a link. Connections Museum. Here's the link for ya. And you probably have seen it if you're watching Curious Mark, because he did a video from the Connections Museum. And I was thinking, what if the Connections Museum gets a SIP trunk going out of their exchange to some battle at Look Mom No Computer, or This Museum is Not Obsolete. By the way, the ADHD has the This Museum is Not Obsolete reference. And because some battle also has a phone exchange, also operational, working, and what if they could connect their exchanges via a multi-channel SIP trunk end to end, and call each other like Sam would call the Connections Museum, and some phone would ring up there, or the Connections Museum would call Sam, and some phone would ring up in his lab. Wouldn't that be utterly cool? Real Apple phone. Yeah, permanent live at the light. Oh yeah, okay, I would be absolutely happy to hang out in the meat space, the real world, the IRL. And it's just it's the problem of location, like having to travel, having to take care of all those fucking arrangements, having to pay for accommodations, especially if you're on a budget tighter than ever Granger's laces like me. It makes me wish that the Asgard transportation beam was real. You know, if you watched Stargate SG-1, like call 4 to beam you out from here, beam you up to the Vintage Computer Fair East. Talk with Nakazato, talk with Fran. But then I guess that if everyone did it, the place would get overcrowded real soon. Yeah, Connections Museum. It's so damn awesome. And the place where I worked before I moved, the Book Art Museum in Łódź in Poland, it was also awesome because it was in an old industrialist's mansion, and the ground floor it was books and prints exhibitions, and the basement, all the basement, was various printing and book binding, all the old school typography and printmaking workshop. When I worked there, I took care of the typecasting department with monotype composition casters and supercasters. And by then I was probably the youngest person in my country to learn that stuff. It's pretty complex mechanical engineering, and it takes meticulous care. All the adjustments, they have to be very precise, otherwise you risk damaging the equipment. And it was pretty complex. And I learned that stuff, and that got me into mechanical engineering somewhat deeper, because before that, I did bicycle mechanics, like vintage bike restorations, repairs, retro bike builds, that kind of stuff, mainly for myself and for my friends and their friends who wanted someone to take care of their bike. And I learned a lot of stuff by reading the Sheldon Brown's website. The late Sheldon Brown, he was legendary, quite a passionate guy about bikes. I think he was probably also autistic. He was quite a geek when it comes to bikes, and not just bikes. Sad story he had passed, but his knowledge and his passion, I learned a lot reading his website. So I learned and I practiced and I practiced, and I repaired bikes and I built bikes. adjusted them, analyzed how it all works. That got me into mechanical engineering. And the knowledge I gained from it all, it helped me a lot when I was learning how to operate and maintain the monotype technology. And after I moved out to Gdańsk, after I stopped working for the Book Art Museum, I had virtually no more monotype experience, other than visiting the museum a few times, because I like the place, I am liked there, I'm appreciated there, and every now and then, whenever I go to my old city and visit my mother, I also visit the Book Art Museum. And sometimes I do some work on the monotype casters. And I innovated on the computer control system for the monotype composition caster. And my improvement was back. Let me look that up. When I started working at the Book Art Museum in 2014, in the beginning of 2014, I quickly became fascinated by the monotype machines and learned about the computer control projects. One of them was a parallel port interface that operated with software written in C and compiled for MS-DOS. I found it way too ancient for my taste and for the future users. So I did more research on computer-controlled typecasting, and I found the American guy whose name is Bill Welliver, and he made his computer control device for the monotype composition caster together with software, and he was selling it. And let me show you how his device looked like, because that's the thing that made me cringe. It made me cringe. Take a look. This is the printed circuit board for Bill Welliver's system, together with two sets of solenoid valves. We need 31 channels for the pneumatic control for the monotype composition caster. The thing that I'm showing in the middle, we can see a perforated paper tape readout device it's a pneumatic readout. Wherever a perforation was in the tape, compressed air was passed through it and directed through a network of copper tubes into certain miniature pistons that rose and blocked the movement of certain levers. And that led to selecting a matrix from a cellular matrix case. And the way it is built, when I first saw it, it was too kludgy for my taste. I like elegant electronics engineering and design. I wanted to make something that fits on the machine and is compact, is all the stuff, all the parts in one enclosure. And let me check if I can show you the device that I designed. Maybe let's see the short version. What you can see here is the RP2caster computer control attachment for the monotype composition casters and type and rule casters. This device was designed and built by me, and as the core part, it uses a Raspberry Pi with a control interface that controls 32 solenoid valves in 4 groups of 8, and those valves control the airflow into the original monotype caster's paper tape readout device, allowing to control the machine without the ribbon. Yeah. That was the short version of my RP2caster controller. There's also a long version with a teardown a look inside. What it consists of. I will drop the link in the chat, and I am very proud of that project. One moment, please, because the previous link got pasted with a time marker. Let me delete that. Oh, Katie, how long am I planning to stream tonight? I think I will go on for an hour or even 2. I think I might be doing a mini project like I did before. Yeah, voice over IP using Asterisk Chipmunk. Back in 2012-2013, I used to do customer technical support and documentation writing and software testing for an IT company named Focus Telecom, and they developed voice over IP cloud-based software for virtual private branch exchanges, call center systems, and teleconference systems. I didn't really like it there. The team, at least some people from there came across as conservative, a little bit misogynistic and queerphobic. I was not out. I was not out back then, neither as bisexual nor as transgender, but it's the atmosphere. I didn't feel safe and free to come out of the closet, and it bugged me, and I was getting more and more depressed. It was also about the values, I was getting jaded, cynical about who I worked for and what I helped develop. I didn't really want the world where telemarketers bug other people with all those calls. So I burned out pretty quickly. Got fired from there. Then I started working on my cargo bike project. I bought a second-hand Certa Jernhast Danish cargo bike made in Copenhagen, because I found an online classified, and it was pretty cheap. I could afford it. So I bought it and spent a few months tinkering with it, doing some nice custom wiring on it. It was my hobby project, and I still have that cargo bike. And then I joined the Book Art Museum. Stayed there for 5 years, and then I got into a relationship with Tris, my queer friend, and moved in to Tris's home here in Gdańsk. I moved my lab, and I was still burned out and depressed and full of anxiety, and the economic situation and the political situation, all that coronavirus shit, it made it even worse. But in those hard times in 2012, I finally decided to go on medical transition and then change my name. And I was looking for jobs to no avail. Got some interviews, but at one place, one company, I almost got the job in electrical engineering, but the management droids, they didn't like my employment history, had some reservations, and didn't want to take me. So all I was left with was doing repairs and doing my channel, relying on patrons. I've got just a few patrons. Let me show you. One moment, please. Yeah, I don't post anything on my Patreon page, but it's 3 patrons, 80 euros a month. Not that much, but given that I'm in Poland, it's like €1 costs almost 5 PLN. And this is also a thing I wrote about on my Patreon page, that it's just how much you have to work, how much you have to work, how much you have to sacrifice in order to support others. Like if someone sacrifices something like $5 per month, it would be something like 22 zloty per month, 22 PLN, and if they earn 15 or $20 per month, and I earn 15 and or 20 zloty per month, then a loss of $5 would be that would be 20 minutes of work on the Western supporters end, but it would be a whole hour of work given to me on the Polish end, and it's the same. It's reverse. If I want to support Western creators, like if I want to pledge $4 or $5 to someone like Fran or Usagi Electric or EEV Blog, that would mean working for an hour while they get quarter of an hour worth of work where they live. So there is this vast disproportion of energy you have to put in, or you can take out, just by living in a different place of the world. And this is what makes it so hard for me to support as many channels as I would love to. If I could, I would pledge $20 to Fran, but I'm just too poor for that. And I also discovered one more fucked up thing about Patreon and how it does balancing. If you have a Patreon account and a creator account on Patreon, because you want to support someone and you get some support from your patrons, then it is not those two accounts are separate from each other. They are not balanced like the creator account fees are balanced against your income from the pledges from your patrons, and this gets subtracted on Patreon. But if you pledge some cash to some other creator, it will not be deducted from your creator account's balance, but from the method of payment you chose, like the credit card or PayPal. It has to pass through external systems rather than stay on Patreon and be billed on Patreon, and then you would get the net balance. If it's negative, you would have to pay for it, for example, monthly, and if it's positive, you could make a payout. Why doesn't it work like that? I just can't stop wondering. Okay, let me just catch up with the chat. Yeah, Chipmunk, we are all hoarders here. One moment, please. Digital audio broadcast only, I think. Zapped Sparky. Fern accepted the 747 black box you sent her, but never made a video on it. Yeah, she has one backlog, Katie. And yeah, I guess that would that's a sorry thing to hear about, that things end up in a backlog or in the limbo, project limbo. By the way, there's one thing that for the time being, it ended up in my project limbo, and I will have to gather energy to get a move on with that. Can I grab it from the shelf? I don't think so, but let me grab the DSLR and have the view on it. I will walk away from the microphone. Yeah, damn those cables. That's it. The Speckle 11 spectral photometer. A chemical lab equipment. A spectral photometer, if you don't know, it is a spectral analysis device. It uses ultraviolet or visible light spectrum. It has a wavelength adjustment device. It works on a single wavelength. Passes the light through the sample that is typically placed in a cuvette, a glass container, and measures the amount of light that gets out. Normally, you compare the amount of light between the sample that you are testing and a certain control sample. The standard you measure the, it is called absorbance and transmittance by comparing them to a sample of a known concentration. And most often it's several samples of this different concentrations that you know. For the solutions that have some color that you can set the wavelength to, you first you put in the standard sample and adjust the wavelength on the spectrophotometer so that you get the maximum transmittance, and then you make a series of solutions of different but known concentrations, measure the transmittance of each one of them, and then you can draw the calibration curve that lets you know the transmittance in function of the concentration, and then you get the unknown concentration sample. You measure the transmittance, look it up on the calibration curve, and you can read the concentration. That's how you determine the concentration of a solution using a spectrophotometer. And spectrophotometers can also be used for some other experiments, like determining the reaction kinetics in colored solutions. There's a bunch of techniques using spectrophotometers, and back when I studied chemistry in the university, we had quite a lot of experiments with spectrophotometers. And if I do a teardown or demonstration video, I would probably be the only one who did that very spectrophotometer on YouTube. It was pretty popular in the Eastern Bloc, It was made in the German Democratic Republic. In the Carl Zeiss works in Jena. Yeah, the excellent optics factory, Carl Zeiss, they are legendary for camera lenses, for scientific apparatuses like the spectrometers, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of high-grade optics. Technology to be proud of. And they also made the projectors. They made some very fine projectors for planetariums. Those projectors were multi-lens setups. Some very advanced technology, and I would be absolutely happy to take a closer look at one. Okay, let me catch up with the chat. Still behind, still behind. I despise humans. Yeah, we need a timer for how long it takes to be aggressive. Maybe we need a timer for how long it takes to be passive-aggressive and release that deadly neurotoxin. Yeah, a ton of rotary phone adaptation. I will need to write the code for the ADHD project. I recently ported the display control code to Raspberry Pi Pico because the previous version of the ADHD used two separate microcontroller platforms. I used ESP8266, also known as Node MCU, as the main microcontroller, and used a Arduino Pro Mini that's Atmega 328 for controlling the display. And those microcontrollers communicated between each other by UART, the serial connection. But I got a Raspberry Pi Pico W, and it has a metric shit ton of GPIO pins. So I just decided to integrate it all and used up almost all of the GPIO pins. But it will do a fine job. Yeah, since this is a work in progress, I didn't even screw the cover of the phone, so it got a little bit discombobulated, but it just runs a loop that goes over the powers of 2 and displays a sequence of numbers. I think it's geeky enough. Yeah, Anonymous got you from Fran a long time ago. Yeah, I have been a fan of Fran since late 2020, I think. And she is the one who inspired my channel. She's a huge inspiration for me. And I first learned about Fran in late 2000s, I think, before she had her YouTube channel. But I shared this story maybe even a few times. There's a certain very special place in my heart for Fran. And of all YouTubers, she is my #1 favorite. If I am to be loyal, if I were to pick a single person on YouTube I would be loyal to, it would be Fran, hands down. And, that is not to say that I don't like others, but but there's this huge gap of engagement. By the way, I was very surprised to see that I was made a moderator of on Clive's channel. Didn't see it coming, and didn't ask for that. And the story behind Fran's live stream was that on one of the first streams on Fran's channel, she asked if anyone would be willing to moderate those chats, like because there were sex bots and all that kind of rubbish, and I happily applied. And I was a moderator on Fran's channel up till the end of 2022. Then Fran didn't want any moderators on her channel. She got back to doing it all by herself. And I was pretty surprised by how I learned about it, because she didn't tell me anything. And there was a situation with an imposter bot. You know, the text me on Telegram, that kind of stuff that uses YouTubers' avatars and sometimes very crudely and sometimes pretty nicely impersonates the YouTuber. And I was trying to delete those comments as soon as I saw them, and I was whenever something like that happened, I was pretty quick to react. But this time, I couldn't delete those comments. I couldn't delete them on my mobile phone, so I got to the laptop, tried to delete them. Nothing happened. I didn't have the options. So then I wrote an email to Fran and asked her what was going on, and yeah, it turned out that she got rid of her moderators, both me and Bob Darlington, who was also a moderator. He became a mod after me, and we were us two and maybe someone else, I don't know. We were taking care of the nuisance happening on Fran's channel. But she decided not to have moderators anymore. Pity that she didn't tell neither me nor Bob up front, so that we could know what was happening. But I don't have any hard feelings about it. One moment, please. Supercomputer server. Also, congrats on 500 plus subs. Yeah, 500 plus. 512 plus. Yeah, full bridge rectifier. "16 and 2/3, 1/3 of 50 hertz. Bloody hell, throwing bottles at cats is just... I have no words. Who throws bottles at cats? Who throws bottles at cats? That's just so fucked up. As for the bell ringing, I can just pass the current through a single diode, and it will it should do the job. Needs to run downstairs. Chipmunk, interesting thing about Western Electric. The important thing, if it's gonna be used and appreciated. Yeah, Chipmunk, the France. I absolutely love her rants because they are insightful after all. If only if only 1/10 of YouTube's rants were like Fran's rants, the world would be a much better place. Yeah, full bridge rectifier. Yeah, now I noticed that I probably got some subscribers from the Clive. Thanks a lot. Oh yeah, the biggest threat to your cat is other human beings. True. Like because of all those cars, it's dangerous to let a cat go outside. It's a sad thing. some places are better in this regard than others. When I was in the Netherlands, I could see cats roaming the streets, no problem, because the car traffic down there was pretty calm and limited. That's what you do with wise city planning and transportation. If the transportation system relies on pedestrians, public transit, and bikes more than cars, if those modes of transport are preferred, cities are much calmer, much quieter, and also much safer. Not just regarding the traffic safety, but also social safety, like the risk of crime, of being being mugged or stolen from, etc. It's just because there's more people in the public space. This deters crime. Let me correct one thing. Yeah. Though at some points, if people don't give a shit, they will not even get interested if something bad is happening. At some point, I watched a few videos of simulated bike theft in New York City. There were literally crowds walking around, but no one even cared if someone with bolt cutters tried to steal a bike. So the only thing that makes public surveillance work is that people actually care. Yeah, let me catch up with that. How far behind am I anyway? Yeah, Eduardo confused me for Fran a bit. I wish. Be like Fran in her 30s. That's what I strive for. She's someone I truly look up to. Hey, it's the American dial. Yeah. Yeah, Chipmunk, not American. Neither am I. I'm Polish, but it doesn't stop me from knowing English and not hesitating to use it. All I want is to go out there to the world. go out there and make it out there. Working on it. Doing my project. Building amps. Oh, Anonymous, you think that I and Fran should do a live show? I would absolutely love to. I would absolutely love to visit her in her lab. But unfortunately with me here in Poland, going to the States, it's just mighty expensive. It's mighty expensive to fly there. Plus all that paperwork shenanigans with that green card or something like that. Or visas. Why are there even visas in today's world? I don't get it. I think that visas could work as a limitation if two countries have beef with each other, like all the shenanigans about Russia invading Ukraine. That and only that. Otherwise, I believe in freedom of travel, and having to apply for visas, it limits it so much. It's also partly because of the Polish history. The People's Republic of Poland back from 1940s and up till late 1980s. International travel was vastly limited. It was just so hard to leave the country. The authorities didn't want anyone to leave the country. And people emigrated because it was just shit here. Way worse than it is now. Now it is shit, but back then it was multiple shits hitting the fans at the same time. Incomparable to what we have now. Yeah, I love the Asgard beaming tech. Beam weapon. Yeah. Stupid YouTube comments again? Yeah. Yeah, Luxolab, I live in the old Prussian part of Poland. Freie Stadt Danzig. like it was called way back when, before the Second World War. Yeah, Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. I haven't watched the whole of Stargate Atlantis, but But in Stargate Atlantis, there is a friendly replicator android, often referred to as Fran. It's Fran again in Stargate Atlantis. Yeah, advanced devil hell demon, ADHD. I'm probably ADHD on top of being on the autism spectrum. Like if I get a lot of stimulation, if I get a lot of thoughts, it's just big discombobulation in my mind. Like I have difficulty concentrating when I'm overstimulated, either from the outside or from the inside, because there's a lot of things troubling my mind. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with it all. And now that my queer friends are away for something like 10 days, I had a lot more time to do my work, to tinker with electronics, to record videos. So there's just now, because I can post a video every day, and I've got a few of them in queue. And it wouldn't be possible having to do the relationship stuff and work in the sensory stimulation. It's almost 2 a.m. here, and I think I will be going on for an hour. I just like streaming too much. It has been such a long time. Yeah, Graham, good night. Oh, it looks like... Now? I thought it was the end of the chat, but it was just the chat hanging up, hanging on me. So, where was I anyway? Yeah, toxic atmosphere makes it hard to focus and work. It's not toxic. It's just sometimes loud. If I get too much sensory input, I find it hard to work. But with less sensory input, I can concentrate way better. Yeah, is that real deal IT tech in the family? Yeah, I am a real deal IT tech. Though I'm not that viable for the corporate world. Like whenever I try to apply for a systems or network administrator, then the software stacks they use. I just don't know anything about it, like Docker or Kubernetes or Ansible. Like all that DevOps, the development and operations stuff, and the routing protocols. It's just a little bit too advanced for me. But on the other hand, tell you what, I got a local hackerspace story. A recent local hackerspace story. I was there sitting and talking with a bunch of other geeks. Some of them are professional programmers, and the IT branch, and one of them couldn't tell a difference between TCP and UDP, the transfer control protocol, and the user datagram protocol. Didn't know the ISO/OSI stack model. Why? Those are the basics of networking. And I can perfectly understand if someone doesn't know how, for example, BGP or OSPF or STP or DHCP or DNS works. Not everyone has to know that. But if you develop any software that works on a network, especially if you develop front end and back end software that needs to communicate with each other, and not knowing the basics about the protocols that make the internet work like it works, I can't understand it. It's as if you are trying to do electronic engineering, but didn't know the Ohm's and Kirchhoff's laws. How can you do anything without that knowledge? Like there are certain things you have to know in order to be an engineer. Yeah, good night, Katie. I guess that I'm a little bit late saying my goodbyes because I was so far behind on the chat. Pop-Tart Neon Cat now. Lost in space. Danger, Will Robinson! Danger, Will Robinson! I think I will have to watch that one again. The Cherry, nice. Hey, nice to see you. This is the ZN60 speaker cabinet from Ultra. 60 watts for 8 ohms with ZG with GD30/30 speakers made by Unitra Tonsil. And I'm using it as a speaker cabinet for my amplifier. The amplifier that I'm building, that's right on the bench. Let me grab it. One moment, please. And let me connect the power. And watch the radioactivity. It's in the air for you and me. Not sure if you can see the pattern. But you can see the tubes. And today I completed the heater wiring. And the video is already done and scheduled to air probably tomorrow. As for my amplifier building, the story goes to something like 2003, 2004. Back when I was at high school, my first vacuum tube project was a low voltage hybrid headphone amplifier using a ECL 86 triode pentode and a BD 139 transistor. I didn't design that one, but I built it according to a schematic I found in a pretty popular electronics magazine. And then I got into vacuum tube electronics. It was also thanks to Fallout 1 and 2. The aesthetics of Fallout of the electronics that in Fallout's universe, transistor was never invented. All the computers, all the electronics, they continued to use vacuum tubes. And the parts of the game's interface in Fallout 1 and 2 were made to look like the Cold War era electronics from the 50s or 60s, with handles on the panels, with vacuum tubes, and that inspired me to build electronics like they did it in the first space age. So I started experimenting. I started hoarding electronic parts. I started hoarding tubes. Back then in 2000s, tubes were much easier to get and much cheaper to get. They were made in Slovakia at JJ. They were made in Russia. They were made in Ukraine. They were made in China. And they were probably also made in the United States. And later on, more and more factories closed down. And now with the war, the Russian factories also had to close down because of the embargo on Russian wares. I guess that hit electroharmonics quite a lot. Then the Chinese manufacturer still holds on, and of course JJ in Slovakia. I think that they got even more orders because they have less competition. Recently, I heard about some people resurrecting the Western Electric brand in the States, using the original Western Electric manufacturing technology. Fingers crossed for them. Keep those 300 bees coming. What's going on? Is it people talking, machinery wearing away, or both, or is that a bit much? I guess it was about sensory overloads. No, it's also about music playing when I need some silence. Although listening to music, sometimes I really feel that I need to play music full blast, pushing the limits on my amplifier. Missing driver for your helpless body. Huh. Oh yeah, Vera. I'm also definitely more of a hardware hacker. Our hacker space is mostly software people, programmers, people who work in IT, but there are also a few electronics engineers. Yeah, Cherry, that's a cute amp. I try to do my best. Geiger counter synth. Interesting. Solid state amplifiers? No, I don't. Although back in 2000s, I did I made a few experimental amps with 2N3055 and then KD502 transistors. Most of those designs I found at Elliott Sound Products. Sound Dejailleur. Let me post a link. And that's the website that I learned a lot about audio electronics, about connections, about hardware, standards, levels, professional audio engineering. Yeah, off-the-shelf modules. Back in the day when I was learning electronics, it was it was kits for self-assembly, but you didn't get off-the-shelf modules like you can get now. It was the times before Arduino. Because when Arduino came out, it was a huge success because it was so innovative. There was nothing like this before that got traction. A complete microcontroller platform with software and integrated development environment to support it, to write software with excellent documentation. All of that made Arduino so popular and so successful. And it transformed the way we learn electronics forever. After Arduino, a lot of different microcontroller and single board computer platforms like Raspberry Pi appeared. And tinkering with electronics, it mainly became a matter of connecting modules together, like system integration rather than building from the ground up from single resistors, capacitors, transistors. So electronic engineering moved on to a abstract, emergent level, further away from the basics, because there were engineers who designed those building blocks, those modules, but learners, newcomers, learned by connecting and programming those building blocks, rather than building anything from the ground up. And having started learning electronics in 1990s, when I was a teenager, I had no other way than building stuff from various schematics I found in books or magazines. Then I moved on to trying my own designs, like alarm panels and some audio circuitry and some other different things. But I had to build it all from the ground up. I didn't have a breadboard. I had to use the perf boards or design and etch my own printed circuit boards, or do electronics dead bug style. And I often used second-hand parts desoldered from electronic devices that was scrapped. That's also how I learned a lot of electronic engineering stuff, by taking things apart, seeing how it is all built, and also getting inspired for my future projects. What's going on? If I have pictures of my own, what do you mean, Cherry? Pictures of what? $1,000 worth of electronics? Bloody hell. If I had $1,000, I would buy myself a Tektronix scope and a Fluke multimeter. Yeah, actually, the regret about destroying some things, that's also what I have now, because when I was in the middle school, I got a lot of old electronics from the school physics lab clearance. I was on very good terms with my physics and chemistry teachers, so I got a lot of devices like reel-to-reel tape decks that cluttered the shelves, and I kinda regret taking those apart. Now they would be worth quite a lot, being vintage electronics. But back then... And I also regret damaging some vacuum tubes that were in those devices. But those regrets are nothing compared to having sold the best Polish reel-to-reel tape machine, and the vacuum tube scope, the behemoth vacuum tube scope made by Zakłady Radiowe Kasprzaka, ZRK, the OS 102, clearly inspired by Tektronix. And how I wish I could have that scope in my lab next to the bench. Yeah, you know where I'm coming from. TCS and H. That was my first serious scope, but it was impractically big and took such a lot of space in my first lab in my room. And I needed the money, so I had to sell it off. Ah, solid state amplifier. No, I don't have any pictures. Back then, yeah, I do speak Polish fast. I am Polish. What is your superpower? Back then, I didn't even have my first camera, so no way of taking pictures. I only got my first cell phone in I think when I went to the university. It would be sometime around 2005. That would be after I did some experiments. But that cell phone, I think I got my first camera, the Hewlett-Packard Photosmart 720, I guess, around 2006 or 7. Then I got the Fujifilm Finepix S5500 digital camera, not the SLR. It had an integrated optics. Looked a little bit like the SLR, but it was not a DSLR. And then my first DSLR was a second-hand Canon EOS 10D. And after I started working at an IT company, I got a second-hand Canon EOS 40D. This one. It was in 2012, and then I haven't bought any camera. Partly because I burned out as a photographer. I stopped taking pictures. And the type of photography I did was some photojournalism kind of thing, like taking pictures at concerts, at parties. And it was architecture, it was urban exploration. And I didn't really do any portrait photography. It was mainly things. Hi Al, nice to see you again. Wet plate photography. Interesting. Fantastically interesting. Art style. I only did digital photography. I never did the classic analog photography. At some point I wanted to, but getting all those chemicals, the developer, the stopper, the fixer, and organizing the darkroom. I read a few books about it, but doing all the process, I guess it would be too much of a hassle to do that. And of course all the suppliers, the film, would be quite expensive now that it faded away from being mainstream. It became very niche. Yeah, circling your hobbies. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're quite active. DIY jet engine. That's intriguing. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so maybe it's time for a mini project. So let's get to the bench. I will show you one find from my collection. Watch your eyes. The light is coming on. Put the amp aside. I was thinking about getting back to the Selectric restoration project. But I guess it would take a lot of time, and I would like to do some research prior to doing anything about it. Let's zoom on in. So what I have here is an old German bistable relay. And a pretty interesting specimen. It's similar to Siemens automation relays that I saw at a local electronics shop. But this one is clearly RFT from East Germany. Oh. Why am I discombobulating it from this side while I can do it from the other side like I meant? Discombobulate. What's remarkable about this relay is the coil. It has 4 separate sections. I guess that these can be connected in parallel or in series. One part of the bobbin is broken, and there is a pretty interesting mechanism operating the single pole double throw contact. This is actually this is a magnet, and this can latch in one of 2 positions against the core. We've got a pretty narrow gap, and the direction of the magnetic field decides the direction this anchor moves. And the position is opposite to the contact that it engages. I wonder if I can fire it up with a few coils connected in parallel. Let me grab a power supply. It's pretty big. Wonder if I can. Wonder if I can put it like this. No, it's not practical. Yeah, you will have to trust me on that one. Of course, I'm using the current limiting feature on the power supply. Let's limit the current to 0.3 amps. And try to engage. I think I have an idea how to wire those connections. Only gotta find some wire. We've got 4 sections on the relay coil. So I will connect those sections in pairs. And see if it takes me anywhere. come on. And just one more piece of wire. Let's see what happens. Looks like it's trying to move. The anchor. The anchor is moving. But the force seems to be too small. And what if I wire all the sections in parallel? Yeah, it's about remembering the correct phasing, but I checked that. And by applying DC current of either polarity, I should be able to change the state on this relay. All wired, and I should be able to. Yeah, the current limiter kicks in. Give it some more current. But it works now. Can I go down with voltage? Seems like I have to go up. Oops. Short circuit. But it changes over. So I got this little bistable relay to work. It's very interesting in its construction. And by the way, this is a ceramic insulation part. So that would be it for the mini project. And it's almost 3 AM where I am. So the stream is coming to an end. Yeah, that scope sounds like a space telescope. And by the way, the James Webb Space Telescope is what got me into becoming a space nerd. Yeah, chronic multitasker. That relay is DC. And it's polarized bistable. 0.22 LR rounds as electrical fuses. Yeah, I have seen memes with that. The fuse with blow indication. Nah. Hmm. Nice seeing you, Sutter Wolf. Thanks a lot for the appreciation. Audible trip fuses. All my coughing, it's mainly because I'm becoming dehydrated. I have to take a sip every now and then. If my throat gets dry, then it will just lead to coughing. Hopefully it won't lead to coughing. Oh, and by the way, one of the upcoming videos will be about this. Cable lacing. Ivy saline solution for long streams. Is it not enough for me to have I am estradiol valorate solution? Anyway, I made a video about cable lacing. It's scheduled to air tomorrow, I guess. I was inspired by the Digital Mermaid because she made a NASA style cable lacing. How she learned it recently. I did cable lacing in 2000s. All that being inspired with vintage electronics. Yeah, looks like a flogger. Cat on 9 tails. Looking around, trying to find if there's something I would like to show you. Oh, there is something I would like to show you. I guess I posted some photo of it on my Instagram, but then this is the upcoming project. I will have to make the code for it, but I will also have to make the VFD filament and plate and grid supply voltage converter. Then the VFD is on the bottom part. And this will be an OBS scene switcher. The Open Broadcaster Studio Enhanced Scene Switcher. Ouch, my eyes! Yeah. Oh, yeah, rebuilding speakers, Cherry, I have done it. Repainting basket, no, I did not. Ferrite rings and modifying the backplate, no, not to that extent, but I did replace the membrane and both the upper and lower suspension. Or wait, did I do the lower suspension? Possibly not, but the upper suspension I definitely did. And that's a cool thing that you did it. Pretty advanced restoration. 25/40/3. I guess let me Google that up. Yeah, it's foam suspension, so it's definitely not the speaker that was used in ZG40C, but yeah, quite a restoration project, I have to admit. Ah. Yeah, you're welcome, little Quacher. It was nice. I have missed streaming for quite a long time. I was just also depressed. Had a lot of anxiety, a lot of things going on in my mind. But I think that I will get back to streaming, if not every week, then maybe a little bit more often. Yeah, see you next time. It is time to end the stream. Awkward moment.